Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of the Running Shorts Roundtable. Today, I'm joined by 5 runners who had other plans for this weekend and certainly other plans for this day. They're all entries into the 124th Boston Marathon, which has been postponed, of course, by the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, at this very hour, they would have all been in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, preparing for the start of the world's most famous foot race. First, I'd like to introduce John Boschini.
Hey, Eddie.
Hi. Cindy Barbour.
Good morning, Eddie.
Teresa Inman.
Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning. Evan Logan.
Morning.
Good morning. And Jeremy Bush.
Hey, Eddie. Glad to be here.
All right. Tell me about the first time that you qualified for the Boston Marathon and how you reacted to that. John, I'll start with you with that question.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't able to get into Boston until my 4th time qualifying. I was kind of a squeaker for a long time, just getting a little bit off, but not quite getting it low enough to actually get into the race. Seemed like the cutoff kept moving its way, almost the exact amount that I kept qualifying by. But it was emotional the first time hitting the standard, because that standard has always been kind of this mythical thing, especially when I ran 45 minutes slower than the standard at my first marathon. And so that was pretty emotional. And then I realized that I'd actually have to put some more work in to get to the race. And I finally did that, my 4 at Emerald Isle last year. And I took 5 minutes off of the standard, and I was pretty confident that I was going to get in. And that was pretty cool, kind of knowing that I could start planning a trip and telling my friends and family that I was in the race. And so that was pretty emotional.
Excellent. Cindy, same question for you.
Well, I've been racing since 1976, but I completed my first marathon in 2005 at Virginia Beach Shamrock. And in 26-degree weather, did well enough to qualify by 40 minutes. So it was a lot of fun. Exciting, very exciting.
All right. Evan, same question.
So I qualified for the first time in Darlington, South Carolina. That was my 5th marathon. And I was trying to qualify to run with my dad for, I think it was 2015. And I went there just with a friend, and it was, when I finished, I didn't know a single soul, but I had a little inside cheer. It turned out that I was 7 seconds too slow to actually get in. But that year I got to go and be a spectator and cheer my dad, which was a really neat experience. And it made me want to be there even more. So it created a fire within. And so the next time I finally made it.
Very good. Jeremy, what was your first qualifying experience like?
So I qualified last March in Myrtle Beach. I had about a 5-minute buffer, so I was pretty sure that I was going to make it in. And that was great because my family had almost already planned the trip to Boston ahead of time. So it put a lot of pressure on me, but it took a lot of pressure off when I crossed the line. And it was quite the celebration. I had a lot of family in attendance there cheering me on. So when I crossed the line there in Myrtle Beach, it was a celebration, and it was nice to see my family and friends. And so it was a great experience.
Very nice. And Teresa, tell me about your first time qualifying for Boston.
I ran my first marathon in 2012 in Charlotte at Thunder Road. It was sort of a check the box thing because I had intended to run the Charlotte Observer Marathon when I was in college, and I'd been injured and I'd never done it. And I was a college student, and anyway, with a little bit more focus and maturity, I was like, I'm going to do this now. And I did qualify for Boston, and I had run it every year since then.
Between Hopkinton and Boylston Street, for the 3 veterans here, what is your favorite part of the course and why? I'll start with Cindy with that question.
Well, my husband came with me the first time I ran Boston in 2012, and he went to the Red Sox game because I did not want any pressure of trying to see him or him trying to see me, etc. Well, he ended up coming out of the stadium, which is in view of the Sitco sign, which is the marker of you are at mile 25. And he bought a hat at the game, and I did not recognize him. It was ridiculously hot that year. People were dropping out left and right. And at the end, I hobbled to the family meeting area, and my husband walked up, and he said, "You did not recognize me in the race." And I said, "Bought a hat." I thought this man looked like my husband, but it wasn't him because he had a hat. So yes, that's probably my favorite part because now I run by Sitco sign and I just start laughing.
Excellent. Evan, how about for you?
Well, I love the whole from start to finish. And apart from, the finish line, because it is so nice to see that finish line. A part that sticks out for me is somewhere between mile 7 and 10. It's where the small suburban towns, they all come out and you see their community. And it's just really neat to look left and right and to see all those people. They also are cooking and usually grilling or, barbecuing of some sort. And the smell is really awesome.
Very good. Teresa, how about for you?
Well, I have to agree with Evan. The whole of the race is pretty fantastic, but the point that probably moves me the most is that final turn when you make that turn onto Boylston Street off Hereford and to see the magnitude of the finish and the people and the crowd is so thick at that point and loud, and it's an experience that just can't even be easily put into words.
Now, the two gentlemen here will be running Boston for the first time, so let me ask John, you've heard about Boston, you've heard about the course, what about that will you be looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I'd probably say, I've looked at the course a fair amount, and I'd probably say the Wesleyan Scream Tunnel. It's early enough in the race where I won't have died because I am physically incapable of going out conservatively. And that seems like one of the things that seems pretty unique to Boston itself. I love big crowds and, packed streets and everything. And I could be wrong. There might be something very, very different about those types of things in Boston, but the towns, the people, earlier on in the race seem relatively unique. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Jeremy, same question for you.
So I'm quite the student of the history of the sport, especially the Boston Marathon. Just finished reading a book that breaks down the marathon mile by mile and gives the history behind each mile and the stories, the many things there. So I'm looking forward to experiencing the entire course, just thinking about a lot of those stories. But I would say the one thing that I've played over and over in my head is making that left onto Boylston, coming down to the finish line, the culmination, the excitement of that event, and the culmination of something that I've worked so hard for. That's what I believe is going to be my favorite part, is coming down Boylston and crossing that line.
Excellent. And I'm going to stick with the two gentlemen first on this next question, but outside of the course, from the time you get to Boston to the time you leave, what about the Boston Marathon experience are you going to be looking forward to the most? And Jeremy, I'll go back to you on that.
I'm looking forward to just being able to spend the weekend, do some of the sites in the city. I've been to the city before and done some of the historical things, but we were bringing our whole family to the city, and we were going to be doing things like the Duck Boat Tour, the Freedom Trail. We were going to go to the Red Sox game. So we're looking forward to just being able to share that experience together. And of course, all culminating with the race. The race is going to be quite the excitement for the weekend.
All right, John, how about for you?
I would say probably I'm looking forward to experiencing just the energy of the weekend. The expo, there are places that do kind of shakeout runs. I'm part of online communities that have meetups. Seeing the kind of everybody geeking out about this shared experience that we have. So rather than any one in particular event, because I've never gone, so I don't know what I'm going to enjoy the most, I'm looking forward to experiencing that energy and that, sense of community.
All right, now the three women with us have all run the Boston Marathon before. So Evan, let me start with you. What has stood out to you the most about the Boston Marathon experience?
The whole, once again, it's so hard to pick one thing because it really is just the whole experience. I love being in the airport and seeing all the jackets and looking left and right and like, oh, there's a runner. I love walking down the street the days before. There's just an energy and a vibe to the city that is truly mesmerizing, and I love it. The one thing that I would say that sticks out that I wouldn't want to miss is there's one of the oldest churches on Boylston. I don't know the name, but they have a blessing of the athlete service that Sunday morning, and it is truly special. It's very moving, and I don't even know how to put it into words.
That's very nice. Teresa, same question for you.
I have to agree that the energy of the city is amazing. We've done so many fantastic things in Boston over the years, Red Sox games, Celtics games, the duck boat, the whole tourist, whatever. But the race will be always be my favorite part of the weekend.
All right, Cindy, how about for you?
Well, like everyone else, the race is the amazing part, and the church service is equally spiritually amazing. This is my swan song Boston Marathon. So I think I had some divine intervention that we need to make this longer and go to September. So I'm looking forward to taking everything in. I'm not going to say I'm never doing a marathon again. I know I won't do Boston again. And so I'm looking forward to my swan song.
And we'll start with John here. Who is the elite runner that you admire the most and why?
I mean, I think it's difficult to say kind of anybody but Meb Keflezighi. So I was thinking about, like, who would I wait an hour in line to meet at an expo or something? And, you know, I like a lot of people. I like Galen Rupp. I like Kipchoge. I like all those guys. But 2014 Boston is still probably my favorite sports memory for something I've never seen live. You know, the fact that he came to the country, you know, when he was young and really represents America well. I mean, it's difficult. I know that's kind of a cliche and an obvious answer, but I'd still say that Meb's probably my favorite.
Cindy, favorite elite runner?
So mine's going to be Joan Benoit Samuelson. She's our first Olympic champion. She's 9 years older than I am. I got the opportunity at the Penn Relays in 1983 to run with her. She tried to convince my coach and I that I needed to go to Boston University to run for them. And she's 5'2", 100 pounds, and I've been 120 pounds, 5'6", my whole life, somewhere in that range. And she was the one coach, and I should have gone there, that didn't say, well, you're going to need to lose weight to come here. And she was just so real. And to watch her the next year win the Olympic marathon was very moving.
Very good. Evan, favorite elite marathon runner?
So I am actually not a elite runner junkie. I don't know actually a lot of the names. But in 2018, watching Shalane and Desi support each other and encourage each other and kind of sacrifice their race, even though Desi ended up winning, was a really special way to see an elite runner. That it's an individual sport, but it's a true community.
Jeremy, same question for you. Favorite elite marathon runner?
Okay, I'm going to cheat and do two. I'm going to do male and female.
All right.
Male would be Meb, of course. Meb is he epitomizes everything that you would want to see in an athlete with his class, his fight, just his humility. Everything that Meb does is just first class and is a great example to follow. And on the female side, I would have to say Dina Castor, who she has a lot of the same qualities that Meb does. It's no coincidence that they were teammates in the same system. I actually got to see both of them do a talk this year at the Olympic trials in Atlanta, and it was just moving to watch the two of them on stage for an hour talk and just interact. And those two are just first class all the way. I've read all of Meb's books. I've read Dina's only book. I'd highly recommend all of those books for any runner or anybody in general. So, but definitely Meb and Dina.
All right, Teresa, how about you?
I had a hard time picking just one also because I like so many of them for different reasons. Des is obviously going to be a huge favorite of everybody in the country after the last several years. I mean, she's plugged along for years and years and years, and then finally got her day in the sun or the rain a few years ago. And then also Sarah Hall, her work ethic and the way she manages her life and family and everything else, I have always liked.
Let me now ask the group, and I'll toss this out for group discussion. What have you observed in our running community during the last month or so that has been the most inspiring to you?
All right, I'll go first. We used to joke that, our sport is your sport's punishment. I have not seen so many people actually start to enjoy running and walking in our community. It is amazing to get texts from people saying, you have told me all these years I should do this, and I'm doing it now and I'm loving it. And you're kind of like, It's been amazing. And the support and the people, it's great to see people out.
I'll piggyback on Cindy and just say the same thing. I think the stay at home is giving people time and space to try new things or to get out there. And that's been really neat to watch.
I would also say that it's kind of nice to see people just run for the sake of enjoying running. I think that, at least for me, and it sounds like a lot of people, especially those who are trying to qualify for Boston on a routine basis, kind of have tunnel vision where it's the training plan for the next race and then recovery and waiting for the next race. And for me and a lot of people that I'm around, I can go out and do a trail run for 6 miles, which I don't typically do, or, just, cut a run short or have a run go long or do creative things to try and make it interesting again. And, after having run as many marathons as it seems like we all have, it's easy to get burned out, at least for me, and a little kind of into that monotony of racing. And so that requirement to step back and kind of have a refocus has been really rewarding. And it's something that I've seen in myself and seen in a lot of other people around Greensboro.
I would echo what everyone's saying too about seeing people get out, get active. It's been great to see, and I too have had people contact me and say, "Hey, I'm taking up running. I'm going running for the first time. What shoes should I wear? What this? What that?" So that's been really cool to see people getting active. And one thing I always tell people too, and this kind of goes along with when all this is over with, is running is a solitary thing to do, but it's also something we can do as a community, just like we're just sitting here talking about community. And that's what I tell people: find your tribe, find people to do this with, because it's such a great outlet. It's such a great social thing to do together. And then finding your purpose in running. Why do you get out the door every day? Those are two of the biggest things: finding purpose and finding your tribe.
I would say that I've noticed that a lot of people have different purposes too. Some people are just out there just to enjoy it, just to have fun. But then there's also a group of people who are like still running, trying to do virtual races and still really trying to push themselves. And there's outlets for everybody to do it however it best suits their needs and their desires. And I think that's great too.
Runners, thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. We wish you well as your training will continue for Boston, scheduled for September the 14th. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Running Shorts Roundtable.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.
Eddie Wooten, Running Shorts, Greensboro.com.